सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ आप्यायन्तु ममाङ्गानि वाक्प्राणश्चक्षुश्रोत्रमथो बलमिन्द्रियाणि च सर्वाणि सर्वं ब्रह्मोपनिषदम् माहं ब्रह्म निराकुर्याम् मा ब्रह्म निराकरोत् अनिराकरणमस्त्वनिराकरणं मे अस्तु। तदात्मनि निरते यौपनिषत्सु धर्मास्ते मयि सन्तु ते मयि सन्तु। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ओमित्येतदक्षरमुद्गीतमुपासीत ओमिति ह्युद्गायते तस्योपव्याख्यानम् यावद्विकारं तु विभागः लोकवत् यावद्विकारं यावत् किंचित विकार जातं यावद्विकारं यावत् किंचित विकार जातं दृश्यते. Sutraकार says that wherever you find any vikara jatam, anything that is a modification, anything that is a creation, a modification, a karyam, effect. No, vikara jatam. Dushyate, ghata ghatika udanchanadi, like a pot, like a pitcher, like a jar, kataka kevira kundaladi. So, like a bracelet, like an armlet, like an earring, suchi naracha, this trimshali, like a needle, like a sword, so like an arrow. Tavaneva vibhago loke drishyate. This is vyakti. So wherever we find anything that is subject to modification, anything that is an effect, anything that is a modification, an effect, karya, product, we find that an effect is always separated from another effect. Thus, this is our observation, that wherever an effect is, that is where separatedness is. Just as in the pot, in the jar, in the pitcher, they are all effects and they are all different from each other, separate from each other. And so also various ornaments made of gold, various other articles made of iron. How? Wherever the vikara is, wherever the modification is, that is where the vibhaga, the separatedness also is there. So vikara and vibhaga always seem to go together. So this is looks like a universal relationship. An invariable relationship that the vikara is always accompanied with vibhaga or separatedness. न तो अविकृतम किंचिद कुतश्चित विभक्तम उपलभ्यते. On the other hand, what is not created, we do not find it to possess separatedness. Like the self, which is not created, it is devoid of this property or attribute of separatedness. Vibhagasya akashasya prasivyadibhya avagamyate. So the whole contention is about akasha. So the Purvapakshi's position was samagri shunyatvat akasha na vikara. So akasha na utpadyate samagri shunyatvat. That akasha is not created because the samagri, the requisite materials required for creation of space, the various causes required for creation of effect are not there in case of space. Therefore, akasha na utpadyate. This was the Purva Paksha. The Uttar Paksha is akasha vikara vibhaktatvat ghatadivat lokavat. That akasha is also a vikara, is also a modification. Why is it so? So, vibhaktatvat, because it is possessed of, it is characterized by separatedness, prasivyadibhya. So akasha is different from earth and other things. Therefore, it has this separatedness. Therefore, it is a vikara. Means it is created. Not that akasha is not created. This is a Sat Pratipaksha. So, this Pratipaksha, one argument is made, against that this other argument is made that the Paksha has the Hetu. The Hetu is here, so Vibhagatvat, Vikaraha. Yo Vibhaktaha, sa Vikaraha. So whatever is Vibhakta separate has to be a Vikara. Etena Dikkalamar Paramanvadinam Karyatvam Vyakyatam. So what applies to Akasha space also applies to Manaha, Dik, Kala, Manaha, Paramanu, which all of these the Vaisheshikas claim to be eternal, uncreated. The directions, the quarters, the time, the mind, then what is it, Paramanu, the atoms, all of these they claim are Nitya, eternal. Says no, all of them are different. They are all characterized by the separatedness and therefore they also are vikara. The argument was written, no, Atma vi akashadibhya vibhaktaheti. Is not that Atma also is different from Akasha and others? Tasyapi karyatvam ghatadivat prapnoti. Atma also is separate because they claim Atma is to be one of the dravyas. So they have different 9 dravyas. Dravya means a substance, of which Atma is one of the substances. And then 5 elements also are substances, and therefore all the substances are there. So according to them, Atma is different from these 5 elements, Paramanus and then Dik, Kala, Manaha, etc. So then Akasha also is possessed of separatedness. Therefore, Atma also is possessed of separatedness. So Atma also is Vikara, is also Karya. It says, na, Atmanaha, Akasha, Sambhuta. It says, no, Because the Upanishad says that the Akasha is created from Atma. That means that Akasha is not separate from Atma. Atma is the material cause, effect is not separate from material cause. Atmanopi vastutvad ghatavat karyatva anumana. Atma also is a vastu, is also a thing, is also a substance. And therefore, ghatavat, like a pot is, therefore Atma also is karya, is also an effect. Iti anumana na sarva karanata iti ashankya. So, here Atmana Akasha Sambhuta. Atma is presented as the cause of Akasha, cause of the whole creation beginning from Akasha. Atma is a Sarvakaranam, the cause of everything. Says no, Atma also is a thing, one of the things, and therefore it cannot be the cause of everything. So Bhashyaka yadi Atma bhi vikara syat tasmat paramanyat na shrutam. If Atma also was a modification, Atma also was created, Atma also is karyam in effect, then we do not find, the Shruti does not talk about anything beyond Atma as a karanam. Shruti presents Atma as the ultimate cause of everything. If Atma also is created, then no ultimate cause is left. Then Akashadi Sarvam Karyam Niratmakam. Then there is no fundamental cause, no material cause, there is no Atma. Then all of these will be Niratmakam, devoid of self, devoid of the material cause. Tathacha Shunyavana Prasajjeta. In that case, it means that everything dissolves into Shunya. Because Atma also is a Karya. And there is no cause other than Atma. Therefore, there is no cause at all. There is no material cause. Everything then ultimately reduces to Shunya. Then Shunyavada Prasangasya. Atmatvacha Atmanah Nirakarashanka Anuvapatti. Atmatvacha. So, Ishta Prasanga, somebody said, let that be Shunyavada. This says, no, Shunya is not possible. Atmatvacha Atmabhava Kenachit Nyayate Nava. The point is, is there somebody who knows the absence of Atma? If there is someone who knows the absence of Atma, then that one is there, therefore there is no Shunyavada. If you say that there is nobody to know the absence of Atma, then how do you prove that there is absence of Atma? So either way, Atma Bhava Kiniti Jnayate Nava Adya Yognata Saparishyashyate. The knower remains and therefore no Shunyavada. Dvitiyepi na Shunyata Mana Abhava. We say that there is nobody who knows the absence of Atma, then absence of Atma cannot be established. In that case also, na Shunyata. Ni Atma Agantukaha Kasyachit Swayam Siddhatva. So Kasyachit Karanasya. So there is no cause. No, effect is Agantuka. Like clay is the cause and the pot is the effect. So for the clay, pot is Agantuka, incidental. Clay always remains, pot comes and goes, therefore pot is called Agantuka, incidental, adventitious. Is there a cause for which Atma also is Agantuka? Of which Atma also is in effect? Says, Nahi, Atma Agantuka Kasidit Swayam Siddhatva. What is Agantuka? Agantuka is that which is coming and going, which is incidental, which is there now and not there earlier or later. But Swayam Siddhatva, Atma is self-existing. That in case, there cannot be that Atma is not. And therefore, So what is not can only be agantuka. So for example, a pot does not exist now and then it comes into being, then it becomes incidental, agantuka, but Atma is swayam siddhatvat, self-existing, self-established. Therefore, there cannot be that Atma is not. In that case, it cannot be agantuka, it cannot be incidental. Nahi atmana pramanam atma atmana pramana apeksha siddhati. Atma, the self, does not require any pramanam, does not require any means of knowledge to prove that Atma is. So, to establish the existence of Atma, you do not require any means of knowledge. To establish the existence of a clock, for example, you require the means of knowledge such as the eyes. If the eyes are open and they come in contact with the clock, then the existence of clock can be proven, established. You don't require eyes, you don't require mind, you don't require anything to establish that I am. That I am is self-revealing, self-existing and self-revealing. Therefore, for I am, for knowing I am or experiencing I am, no pramanam, no means of knowledge is required. Tasyahi pratyakshadini pramanani aprasiddha prameya siddhaye upadiyante. Then what's the use of pramana? If you say that Atma is always self-established, does not require any means of knowledge to establish the existence of Atma, then what's the role of pramana? So role of pramana is to establish the existence of everything other than Atma. Atma alone is self-effulgent and self-existing, and therefore it does not require a means of knowledge to reveal itself, but then everything else is jadam, paraprakasham, not self-existing, not self-shining, and therefore everything else requires pramanam, means of knowledge. Like the objects of the world require means of knowledge, the objects, the organs of perception are required, the mind is required, then alone the existence of anything in the world can be established. Therefore, pramanam are also meaningful. The means of knowledge also are useful, meaningful for establishing the existence of the objects other than Atma. The akashadaya padartha pramana nirapeksha swayam siddha kenachit abhivagammyate. Nobody says that akasha in fact is nirapeksha, swayam siddha. Everybody knows that akasha also has to be known. That akasha can be known by knowing the shabda, the sound which is the quality of akasha. And for that matter anything. That vayu is, agni is, water is, fire is, all of these are known only through the means of knowledge because they possess the attributes and through the attributes they are known. And so nobody says that akasha is self-revealing or vayu is self-revealing, nobody says. Meaning that if you close all your organs of perception then, or if you close your mind, you'll become unaware of akasha. So what is swayam siddha? Swayam siddha is that which does not require any means of knowledge. Meaning that you can never get away from Atma. It cannot be that you do not experience Atma. It cannot be that Atma is not. And so, for you can never get away from Atma, it cannot be that you don't experience Atma because Atma is self-revealing. The I am is self-revealing. Whereas space, air, etc. are not self-revealing. Atma tu pramanadi vyavahar ashrayatvat prageva pramanadi vyavahara siddhyati. Whereas all these transactions, such as pramana, prameya, pramiti, pramata, so these the various elements that are required to establish any interaction. So for the knowledge to take place of anything, these four factors are required. The knower is required, the object of knowledge is required, the means of knowledge is required, and then the knowledge takes place. So pramata, the knower, the object of knowledge, prameya, the means of knowledge, the organ of perception and mind, and then the pramiti, the ghatakar vritti, the cognition. All of this transaction is possible provided Atma is there to begin with. So Atma pramanadi vyavaharat prageva siddhyati. All this is possible provided Atma is, the I am is. Only when I am is, then this seer can be there, knower can be there, hearer can be there, provided I am is. And only when hearer is there, the hearing can be there. Only when hearing is there, the heard can be there. So heard, the object of hearing, its presence is established when hearing is there when hearer is there, and the means of hearing is there. All of this presupposes the existence of I. So without the I, no vyavahara can take place. It's a very simple but very fundamental thing. When they claim I to be a substance, they think that the I or the Atma is absent in deep sleep state. Atma is absent in deep sleep state. And Atma is not a conscious entity. The consciousness in Atma is because of the association with the mind. So when you wake up, then the association of Atma and mind takes place. That is where the consciousness is. Otherwise, inherently, Atma is not a conscious entity. So anyway, this is the way of thinking. And as far as our understanding goes, it's a matter of analyzing our experiences. So all these thinkers have come to conclusions, they have come on by their own way of analyzing the experiences. And that's how they have come to conclusions. So deep sleep is a very baffling experience. And therefore, even the Buddhas also think that in deep sleep state there is no consciousness. And therefore, they talk about shunya. And the Vaisheshikas also say that Atma is not conscious and therefore the consciousness is only incidental. And the Bhattas, they say, the Mimamsakas, they say that Atma is both conscious and unconscious. In deep sleep state, there is ignorance as well as knowledge, because when you wake up, you say that I slept well. So they just think that Atma is both conscious and unconscious, and one part of Atma knows another part, etc. But Vedantin says that in deep sleep state also Atma shines. Natata dvidiyamasti. Then how come you are not aware of what is happening in deep sleep state? Because there is nothing to be aware of. There is nothing to be aware of. In the dream and waking state, there are things to be aware of, therefore you are aware. In deep sleep state, there is nothing to be aware of, therefore you are not aware. So that you are not aware is not the criterion for establishing the non-existence of Atma. Nacha idrushasya nirakaram sambhavati. And Atma susva prakashasyapi bada kim nasyat. If Atma is the witness, self-effulgent, illuminator, why not? You can eliminate Atma also, you can negate Atma also. Nacha idrushasya nirakaram sambhavati. Nirakaranatmapi tad adhina atmalabham tad viruddham na udeti. So nirakarana, when can you negate something? Negation also is a vyavahara, understand. Bada or negation also is a transaction, is also a vyavahara. Any vyavahara requires Atma to be there, understand. No vyavahara can, this is our practical experience, no vyavahara. Meaning that no activity, no cognition, no action can take place if Atma is not there. So you require Atma to begin with. So negation also is an activity. To negate something. I am not this, I am not this, I am not this, this is not there. Even that is also a vyavahara which requires Atma to be there. Therefore, if you say that, even though Atma is self-evident, why can you not negate Atma? But that negation also requires Atma. It's a transaction. Therefore, nirakaranatvapi tat adhina atmalabham. Even negation also requires Atma to be there to begin with, and therefore, tad viruddham na udeti. Therefore, if Atma is not there, even Nirakaran cannot take place. Therefore, Atma cannot be negated. Says Nyayadini, right? Aham asmi brahma iti tattva jnanat naham karta bhokta cha iti atmanopi nirakaranam drishtam. So here he gives an example. He says Atma also can be negated. Aham brahmasmi. When one knows that I am Brahma, then tattva jnanat aham karta bhokta cha iti. Then there is a negation. Aham karta. The kartrutvam is negated. Aham bhokta, bhoktrutvam is negated. When I realize that I am Brahma, then the doership is negated, the experience-ship is negated. Negated means found to be false. Iti atmanopi nirakaranam drishtam. So karta is negated, bhokta is negated, so Atma also can be negated. So agantukam, in page 508, in the last line, then Bhashyakara says, Agantukam hi vastu nirakriyate naswarupam. Agantukam hi vastu nirakriyate. Anywhere. The rule is that what can be negated, whatever is incidental can be negated. Naswarupam. The essential nature of something cannot be negated. The clay cannot be negated because clay is the essential nature. The pot is agantuka, is coming and going, incidental, so it can be negated. Bhashyakara continues, Yaeva hi nirakarta tadeva tasya swarupam. Yaeva hi nirakarta, the one who negates. So, the negator is the nature of the one who negates. So, Atma is the very swarupam. Atma is the very essential nature of the one who negates. Essential nature can never be negated, only incidental can be negated. Can Atma be negated? Atma could be negated, provided Atma was agantuka, provided Atma was also incidental, if Atma also was created. But Atma is swayam siddha, swayam prakasha, self-established, self-shining. And therefore, it is swarupam. It is very swarupam, the very essential nature of the one who negates. So negator can negate what is incidental, negator cannot negate the swarupa, the essential nature. That is Atma. So says Ratnava, Jadam hi parayatta prakashatvat agantukam bhadayogyam. Jadam means what? What is not swaprakasham, what is not self-effulgent. Parayatta prakashatvat. So, a jadam or inert thing requires light of consciousness to illuminate itself. It cannot reveal itself. Agantukam. So, whatever is jadam, whatever is paraprakasham, whatever is inert is all agantukam. The whole universe is jadam. All the objects of the universe require the consciousness to reveal them. Therefore, all the objects of the universe, the whole universe is jadam. therefore agantukam, and therefore subject to negation. Bhadayogyam. Natu swaprakash atma swarupam. But then Atma, which is self-effulgent, is not agantuka. It's not jada and not agantuka. What is jadam is agantukam. Atma is self-effulgent, therefore not agantuka, not incidental. Tasya sarvabhada sakshi swarupasya nirakartantra abhava. Atma is the very sakshi, the witness of all negation. Therefore, there is nobody else who can negate Atma. Who can negate Atma? If there is somebody other than Atma, then it can be negated. But then, nirakartantara bhavat. So there is no nirakarta other than Atma. Swasya cha nirakartatva ayogat. One cannot negate one's own self. Nahi sunipunena api svabhava drashtum shakyara ityartha. It is not possible one to objectify oneself. You cannot be karta and karma simultaneously. So tadapi nirakriyata with ashankya. So why not Swarupa also can be negated? So said nirakartarantara abhavat mayavam. So Bhashyakara said nahi agnehe aushnyam agnina nirakriyate. Agnehe aushnyam agnina nahi nirakriyate. The fire cannot negate its own heat. Fire can struggle hard to become cold, but it is not possible for fire to get rid of the heat because it is its swarupam, its inherent nature. And so, fire, somebody else can put down the fire, but fire cannot negate its own heat. So, swasyache swanirakartatva ayogat. One cannot negate one's own self. Nahi sunipunenapi svabhava drashtum shakyate ityartha. Even however skilled an expert a person is, cannot objectify his own self. The Ratnavra continues, evam swatasphurtitvat atmanavadhyeti uktva. Swatasphurtitvat, because Atma is self-effulgent, therefore it cannot be negated. What is not self-effulgent, what is jadam, alone can be negated because you stop illumining it. The thing is that if you can stop illumining something, then you can negate it. So this clock right now is illumined by me. The consciousness that I am illumines the mind, which illumines the eyes, which illumine the clock. There is a freedom not to illumine the clock. Because clock depends upon something else to illumine that. If there is something does not illumine the clock, clock does not have the freedom to reveal itself. And so if I close my eyes, then clock cannot make itself known to me. But even if you close your eyes, Atma will make itself known to you. Even if you close your mind, Atma will make itself known to you. And therefore, Atma, which is self-effulgent, cannot be negated. So what is self-effulgent cannot be negated. What is not self-effulgent, paraprakasham, can be negated. Evam swatasphurtitvat atma na badhyeti uktva swatasattagatvat na badhyah. Atma is swatasphurtiman. Atma is also swatasattavan. Again, Atma is swatasattaka. Means what? Atma is self-existing. That it is self-effulgent, therefore it cannot be negated. Further, it is self-existing, and therefore also it cannot be negated. Tatha ahamiti. So Bhashyakara says, Tatha ahameva idanim janami vartamanam vastu aham eva atitam atitataram cha ajñāsisham ahameva anagatam anagataram cha jnasyami iti atita anagata vartamana bhavena अन्यथा भवति अपि ज्ञातव्ये न ज्ञातुः अन्यथा भावः अस्ति सर्वदा वर्तमान स्वरूपत्वात् स्वभावत्वात् नो तथा अहमेव इदानीं जानामि. I say that I know Vartamanam Vastu. I know what is existing in the present. It is our experience that I know what is existing in the present. Then Ahameva Atitam Atitataram cha Ajnasisham. And I also knew what was in the past and what was in the remote past. I am aware of this. I know that I am aware of what is in the present. I know that I knew what was in the past and what was in the remote past also. So I knew what was in the past. And then ahameva anagatam anagataram cha jnasyami. I also know that I will know what will be in future and what will be in the remote future. That also I will know. So I knew what was in the past. I know what is in the present. I will know what will be in future. Iti atita anagata vartamana bhavena anyatha bhavatyapi jnatavya. So what is jnatavyam? Jnatavyam means that which is to be known. And that which is to be known is changing. So jnatavyam atita. So what is to be known was in the past. What is to be known is in the present. What is to be known will be in future. So the object of knowledge is characterized by past, present and future. Meaning that object of knowledge, anyatha bhavati, is constantly changing. So what is known is constantly changing because what is known can be in the past, what is known can be in the present, what is known can be in future. So past, present, future, all these changes, they belong to jnatavya, the object of knowledge. Na jnatuhu anyatha bhavasti. At that time also, I, the knower, remains one. So I am changeless. I am the same. The same I knew what was in the past. The same I knows what is in the present. The same I will know what is in future. Dehi nosmin yatha dehe kaumaram yauvanam jara. When I was a child, I knew. When I was young, I knew. When I am old, I know. Sarvada vartamana svabhavatvat. And therefore, this jnata, the knower is sarvada vartamana svabhavatvat. Because it is the nature of always being there. So knower is always there. Thus, the knower is changeless. What is known is constantly changing. So among the knower and known, the knower is changeless, known is changing. So it's the nature of knower to be ever the same. So says Ratnava, Jnana Jnayo Satta Vyavicharevi Jnatuhu Sada Ekarupatvat Na Satta Vyavichara Ityartha. Jnana Jnayo. So Jnayam also changes, Jnanam also changes. So what was in the past, that object is not in the present, what is in the present will not be in future. And then my knowledge also. I know the part in the past, I know the future in the present, I know something in the future. So as the object of knowledge changes, the cognition also changes. So jnatavyam and jnanam. Jnatavyam, what is known, and jnanam, the knowledge and cognition, they keep changing. In my mind, constantly, the object and the corresponding cognition comes and goes. And thus, the jnatavyam and jnanam, they change, but jnata, because I know the clock. So the clock that I was there yesterday is a clock that is there today. And therefore, there is a continuity. So there is a thread which connects all of this. There is something that is continuous, which recollects what was there in the past, or the same thing is there today. Same person I saw yesterday is the person there today, and therefore recognition shows that I who knew that person yesterday is I who know that person today. ज्ञातुः सदा एकरूपत्वात् न सत्ता व्यभिचारः इत्यर्थः. The jnata, the knower, being always the same, there is no satta, there is no vyabhichara. There is no negation of existence. It cannot be that it is absent. There is no absence of existence of the knower. There can be absence of existence of the known and the knowledge, but never the absence of existence of the knower. Then there is an interesting question here. Mastu jivatah jnatu anyatha svabhava. You are a jnata, you are a knower. How long? As long as you are alive. So you are saying that the knower is always there. Okay. But how long the knower is there? As long as you are alive. When you are not alive, you are not a knower also. So knower also comes and goes. So mastu jivatah jnatuhu anyatha svabhava. As long as the knower is alive, so long he remains unchanged. Mrutasya tu syat. But when a person dies, then the knower is not there. So there is a change in knower also. Meaning that the knower continues to exist as long as he is alive, but the knower also does not exist when he is not alive. So Atma also exists as long as the person is alive. Atma ceases to exist when the person is not alive. Is it not so? Then Atma also is changing. So Bhashyakara says, Tatha iti. Tatha basmi bhavatyapi dehe na atmana uchchedah vartamana svabhatvat अन्यथा स्वभावत्वं वा न संभावयितुं शक्यम्. तथा भस्मीभवति अपि देहे. Even when the deha, the body is reduced to ashes, then also न आत्मन उच्छेदः न हन्यते हन्यमाने शरीरे. So even though the body is killed, Atma is not killed. And so, his body that reduces to ashes, nothing happens to Atma. Or, alright, maybe Atma does not come extinct, meaning that Atma does not get extinguished, Atma does not die, but it changes. Right now, he is of one kind. When he goes to another body, he changes. He says, Vartamana svabhatvat anyatha svabhatvam na sambhavatum shakyam. It is not possible to imagine that Atma svabhava, the nature of Atma also changes. There is nothing to change the nature of Atma. You require something else on the same reality, then change can take place. Two things enjoying the same degree of reality can influence each other and can create change in each other, but there is nothing of the same reality as Atma. Therefore, you cannot arrive at the possibility of Atma changing in nature. Says Ratnava, Uchchedah Vinasha na Atmana Uchchedah. Na Atmana Vinasha. The Vinasha takes place of the body, not of the Atma. Then Anyatha Svabhavatvat. So Vartamana Svabhavatvat Anyatha Svabhavatvam. So what is Vartamana Svabhava? Atma is self-existing. What is Anyatha Svabhava? Atma is Mithya. So right now Atma is Satyam. Is it possible that something can happen by which Atma becomes Mithya? Is there something that can bring about a change in nature of Atma? Why not? Something happens somewhere and therefore Atma also becomes mithya. Right now it is satyam, then it becomes mithya. Anyatha svabhava. So when svabhava changes, svabhava can never change. And there is nothing that can make Atma mithya. Therefore, it is not possible for you to imagine that the nature of Atma can change from satyam to mithya. Why? Aham asmi iti anubhava siddha sat svabhavasya bhadaka abhavadityartha. Aham asmi iti anubhava siddha sat svabhavasya. Aham asmi, I am. No, the anubhava siddha. It's all known from experience that I am. So sat svabhavasya, to exist is the nature of Atma. I always know myself as self is existing. And therefore, bhadak abhavad. Is there something that can deprive Atma of existence? Bhadak abhavad, that I am existing, there is nothing that can negate that fact. Nothing that can eliminate that fact. There cannot be a situation when I am not. So you cannot meditate upon this idea that I am not. Whatever you do, that I am not can never happen. That I am is sat svabhavasya bhadak abhava. There is nothing whatever that can negate I am. So Vedanta looks at his own experiences. You talk about logic and reasoning and tarka, all right. But no tarka or no reasoning can undo what is experienced. The tarka or reasoning is meant to explain your experiences and not to negate the experience. That I am is self-existing, therefore Atma is I is existent. And there is nothing whatever that can eliminate the existence of Atma, that can negate the existence of Atma, that can make Atma deprived of existence. There is nothing. Bhadak abhavat. So says Ratna evam Atmana shunyatva nirasena. So therefore, Atma is not shunya from two standpoints. One is svatasphurtitvat, other is the svatasattagatvat. That Atma is self-effulgent, therefore also it is non-negatable. Atma is self-existing, therefore also it is non-negatable. Since Atma is not negatable, therefore Atma always is. Therefore there cannot be shunya, there cannot be void, there cannot be non-existence, the ultimate reality. Ultimately also Atma remains as the existent entity. Evam Atmana Shunya. So all of these arguments are made because hi Atma api vikarasya, then tathaja shunyavada prasajjeta. Somebody said, let there be shunyavada. So then all the arguments are made basically to establish two things, that Atma is self-effulgent, Atma is self-existing. And therefore there is no bhajaka. There is nothing or no one that can negate the Atma. Atma is the very swarupa, the very inherent nature of the negator. And therefore one cannot eliminate or one cannot negate swarupa. Only agantuka. What is incidental can be negated, what is essential cannot be negated. Yum atmana shunyatva nirasena. Therefore the shunyatvam, the non-existence of Atma, has been thus refuted. Shunyata prasangasya anistatvam uktam. Even though the Vadi wanted shunyatva as a desirable thing, we have now established, proven that it is not desirable, that there is shunyata, that there is non-existence. Then tatasya atmana karyatva anumanam avasa. Next one. What is the anumanam? Look at page 508 in Ratna Prabha. Nanu atma karya vibhaktatvat. The second line. Atma karya vibhaktatvat vastutvad. This tarka was the anumanam. Atma karyam. that Atma is also Karya, is also Vikara, modification. Atma also is created. Why? Vibhaktatvat, because Atma is separate from Akasha, etc. Vastutvadva, or Atma also is one of the Vastus. Atma also is one of the many substances, and one substance is different other substance. Therefore, Atma also has Vibhaktatvam. Atma, so your own argument is given to you. So, Yavad Vikara, Vibhaga Lokavat. So, wherever Vikara is there, Vibhaga is there. But in Atma also Vibhaga is there, Vibhaktatvam is there, separatedness is there. So, Atma also is Vikara. Now, this is a Karyatva Anumana. To prove that Atma is Karya, is Anumana Avasa. He is not a real Anumanam, he is only an appearance of Anumana, false Anumana. Evam Subhashyakara says, Evam apratyakshe swahavatvat eva nakaryatvam atmanah karyatvam cha akashasya evam apratyakshe swahavatvat. Because Atma is undeniable, non-negatable. Therefore, akaryatvam atmanah. Therefore, Atma is not a karyam. Whatever can be negated is karyam. That's another thing. Karyam or effect is that which is always agantuka, incidental. And what is incidental can be negated. So what can be negated is karyam. But Atma cannot be negated because it is the very nature of the negator. And Swarupa, only agantuka can be negated, Swarupa can never be negated. Therefore, apratyakshe swahavatvat, Atma is of the nature of apratyakshe, meaning what? Undeniable, non-negatable. Therefore, Atmana akaryatvam. Therefore, Atma cannot be karya. Atma cannot be incidental. Very important. So, through all these arguments, ultimately, the nature of Atma is being revealed here. Although it looks like we are arguing with Vaisheshikas, etc., but in that process, Bhashyakara also reveals the nature of self, nature of reality. So, how should you interpret your observations? The Vaisheshikas also experience this world and they interpret their experiences to arrive at the conclusion that they have. So here, our mind also can think like that. So here we are told or we are taught what is the right way of thinking. Says Ratnava, akaryatmanah siddhautasya avidya sahitasya upadanasya adushtadi nimittasya cha sattvat. Now the question was, then the Purva-Pakshi said that Gauni asambhavat, Akashasya utpatti Gauni. Or the Shruti talking about the creation of Akasha is not in a primary sense, in a secondary sense, because asambhavat, it is not possible that space can be created. Why? Because the causes cannot be there. The samavaya karanam, asamavaya karanam, nimitta karanam, this is samagri, this is the requisite materials that we require, that does not exist. And therefore, Akasha cannot be created. So Vedanta has to show now that samagri is there. So according to Vedanta, what is the samagri? What are the causes required for creation of Akasha? So says here, akaryatmanah siddhau. So first of all, it is necessary to establish that Atma is not karya. Atma is always there. If Atma also is agantuka, then that's a different problem. Then there is no samagri. If Atma also is agantuka, then there is no samagri to create anything else. But they establish that Atma is not agantuka, not incidental, Atma is inherent. Tasya avidya sahitasya. So for the Vedantin, what's the samagri required? Ignorance is samagri required to create. Meaning that Vedanta accepts creation of a different nature. To create something real, you require the upadana karana, nimitta, all kinds of things you require to create something real. But to create something which is imaginary, to create this snake, rope snake, you don't require any upadana karana other than rope. So ignorance is upadana karana. So in the rope snake example, what is the material cause of the snake? Ignorance. So here also avidya sahitasya upadanasya. So according to Vedanta, the upadanam, the material cause of the entire creation is ignorance. Then you also require nimitta karana. You require also the instrumental cause. So what is the instrumental cause? You don't have instruments like all the the potter's wheel and stuff like that. Or in case of the cloth, you require the loom, etc. The shuttle and loom, etc. You don't have that. So you don't need them. Ignorance is the material cause, and adrushtadi. Adrushta means the past karma are the nimitta karanam. Ignorance is the upadana karanam, and so kamayata bahusyam prajaya. In the beginning of creation, Atma thought may become many. So what created that thought? The karma. So the cumulative karma or the actions of all the jivas created that desire which is responsible for the further creation. So what is nimitta? Upadana means ignorance is the material, all right. What causes this creation is the karma, called adrushta. So adrushtadi nimittasya ca sattva. So according to Vedantin, the requisite material is available. Ignorance and the karma, they are the requisite material for creation. Akasha anutpatti heto samagri shunyattvasya swarupa asiddhe. So now, what was the hetu? Asambhavat. So samagri shunyatvat. So akasha no utpadyate samagri shunyatvat. So this was their anumana, Akasha no utpadyate samagri shunyatvat. Samagri is not there for creation of akasha. So we have shown how the samagri is there. So what is the hetu? Samagri shunyatvat. The samagri shunyatvam. The absence of samagri, absence of requisite factors was the reason why they said that akasha is not created, but that hetu has been proven to be wrong. Because samagri shunyatvasya hetoho swarupa siddhe, that hetu or the reason of samagri shunyatvam, absence of samagri, we have proven swarupa siddhe, that hetu is not established because samagri is there. Samagri shunyatvam cannot be proven because samagri is there. The avidya and karma, the samagri. Ukta sat pratipaksha bhadacha. And further, what is sat pratipaksha? Akasha vikara vibhaktatvat gatadivat iti. So not only their anumanam is wrong, but then the contrary anumanam is there. Akasha vikara. Akash is modification, vibhaktatva hetu, because of separatedness, ghatavat, like a pot. So that sat pratipaksha also is there. So first of all, as far as their anumanam is concerned, the hetu, samagri shunyatvam, cannot be, is proven to be wrong. And secondly, there is, so only their anumanam doesn't work. But what is your anumanam? Our anumanam also is there. What is it? Akasha karyam vivaktatvat ghatadivat. So the anumanam is negated by this other anumanam. Akashasya karyatvam niravadyam. Therefore, that akasha is an effect is without any fault, niravadyam. So Master Shankara said, karyatvam cha akashasya. Atma is not karyam and akasha is definitely karyam or the effect. So this is done. Now further. Atma avidyayo. Now their contention that you require samavaya karanam. What is samavaya karanam? Samavaya karanam must be in abundance of the material. Like for creating the cloth, not only you require the yarn, but you require a number of abundance of yarn is required for weaving the cloth. Not just one yarn. So, and therefore these different yarns must be of the same sajatiya, of the same class. So their idea of this, the upadana karanam, or what they call samvaya karanam, the material cause is that there must be the abundance of the same akas, abundance of material of the same class. A number of yarn or threads are required for cloth. A number of particles of clay are required for creating a part. So, Atma avidyayoho vijayatiyatvat na akasha arambhagatvam iti yuktam. Whereas you say that the avidya is the upadana karan. So, Atma and avidya together create the universe. But Atma is Satyam, Avidya is Mithya. Therefore, they do not belong to the same class. Sajatiyatva is not there. However, the Upadana must be necessarily Sajatiyam. The yarn must be there, the same category, You can't take yarn and then sand and you can stuff like that and create cloth, It's not possible. So you require yarns of the same, not one yarn. You require many yarns. So Atma and Avidya being Vijatiya, therefore they cannot be the material cause or samvaya karanam, iti uktam anudya nirasyati. And so restating that, Bhashyakara gives a refutation. Yattu iti. Bhashya says, Yattu uktam samanajatiyam anekam कारणद्रव्यं व्योम्नो नास्ति इति तत्प्रत्युच्यते. That's it. Yat uktam. And then the Vaisheshika had further said, Samana jatiyam anekam karanadravyam. For creating anything, you require samana jatikam anekam dravyam. Abundance of a substance of the same class is required for creation, and that substance does not exist for Akasha. Therefore, asambhavat, Akasha could not be created. Tat prati uchyate. To that, this refutation is given. Bhashyakara continues. Natavat samanajatiyam eva aravate न भिन्न जातीयम इति नियमः अस्ति. So these people have created their own niyamas, So that samvaya karanam, of course it's something that we observe, no doubt about that. So we do observe that for making a cloth, you require a number of threads, Lots of yarn is required to weave the cloth, not just one yarn, so you require the samvaya karana must be of the same class and abundance. Is what we observe. But this observation is made universal by them. So there is no universal rule that you necessarily require abundance of the same class. Different things of different class also can join to create a thing. So samana jatikatvam, two things are there. Samana jatikatvam and anekatvam. Both of these will be refuted. So first of all, Bhashyakara takes up this case, samana jatiyam, that the different members of the material cause must be of the same class. Who are the different members? In case of cloth, the different yarns are different members of the samvaya karanam. and they must be of the same class. He says that is not a rule. Na tavat samana jatiyam eva arabhate na bhinna jatiyam iti niyama asti. That the entities belonging to different class, they cannot contribute to an effect. That members of the same class alone can contribute to effect. That rule is not there. So says Ratnava, kim karanamatrasya sajatya niyamait uta samavayinah. Kim karanamatrasya sajatya niyam. All the karanas, the three karanas, samvayi karanam, asamvayi karanam, nimitta karanam. Are you suggesting that all the three must be of the same class? Or only this rule that the cause must be of the same class applies only to samvayi karanam? Tatra adyam nirasya dvitiyam shankate. So first of all, that all the causes, they don't have to be, they don't generally are of the same class. The Bhashyakara says, Nahi tantuna tat sanyoganam cha samana jati yatvam asti dravya gunatva abhyupagaman. So now there is samvaya karanam and asamvaya karanam. So you say, when can you make a cloth? When you can weave a cloth? When number of yarn is there. And that this yarn also can come in contact with each other. There is sanyoga, the conjunction, So the warp and the woof, and they can be actually knitted or woven. That kind of sanyoga must be there, the contact must be there, the conjunction must be there, then alone the cloth will exist as an entity. Otherwise it will not exist. Sometimes when they are cooking, so for cooking also you require something that binds. So sometimes when they want to make a puda, for example, so you make the dough and then some ghee is added and then you try to spread it on the frying pan and the thing gets separate. It doesn't remain as one entity, It becomes all separated. So many pieces, sometimes they come and serve you, in 6 pieces. Swamiji, ata tuti gayo, it broke. Why? Because that consistency is not there. There must be something that binds them together. So not only the cloth is not merely an assembly of threads, when the threads must be bound with each other. So samvaya karan, or the material cause must be abundant in quantity, at the same time that they should be able to bind with each other. Otherwise, you cannot make, for example, chapati out of sand because sand particles cannot bind with each other. Even if you add ghee in there, they won't bind. Wheat particles can bind with each other when you add ghee. Otherwise, without ghee you can't make a chapati because ghee or oil or whatever. So made one is required. Otherwise, that wheat particles also don't bind. So it is not enough that you have lots of wheat particles to make chapati. There must be sanyoga also. They must be able to bind with each other. So that's a very intelligent observation. All observations are intelligent, no doubt about that. But still, the wheat and the bond between them, they are not of the same class. You see, if you say that the cause must be of the same class, then samvaya karanam is in this case wheat or thread, and the asamvaya karanam is the bond between them. But the bond is different class and threads of different class. So your claim that the causes must be of the same class is not true. So nahi tantunam tas sanyoganam cha samana jatiyatvam asti. That tantu, the thread and the bond, they are not of the same class. Why? Dravya gunatva abhyavagamat. Tantu is a dravya and sanyoga is a guna. And that they can bind with each other is a guna or a quality, whereas tantu is dravyam. So dravya is one class, substance is of one class, and quality is of another class, and therefore that the causes are of the same class is not true. further. Nacha nimitta karananam api Turi Vemadina Samanajatiyatva Niyamaha Asti. So Samvaya Karanam and Asamvaya Karanam, they don't belong to the same class. Then different Nimitta Karanas are there. For example, for weaving a cloth, you require a weaver, is also a Nimitta Karanam. And then you require the loom, which is also a Nimitta Karanam. The shuttle, goes from back and forth or right and left. There is also Nimitta Karanam. So all of these are Nimitta Karanas. They don't belong to the same class. So nacha Nimitta Karananavi Turi Vema Dina. And so Turi means shuttle, Vema means loom. All of these Samanajatiyato Niyama Nasti. So Nimitta Karana also are not of the same class. That the causes must be the same class is not true. The Samvaya Karanam and Asamvaya Karanam, they are not of the same class. And different members of Nimitta Karanam also are not of the same class. So Karanamatra Sajatya Niyama. Karanamatra, all the Karanas must be the same jati. That is not there. Uta Samvayina, then he says, wait a minute. We did not say that all causes must be of the same class. Only that rule applies to Samvaya Karanam, only material cause. So therefore, Adyam Nirasya Dvitiyam Shankave. Adya means that all causes from the same class has been refuted. Now second, whether the Samvaya Karanam, the material cause also must be the same class or not, that is also being refuted. Syaditi. Syadetata. Suppose the argument is made by the Purva Pakshi. Samvaya Karana Vishaya Eva Samana Jatiyatva Abhivagamaha Na Karanantara Vishaya Iti. So he says, wait a minute. We do not say that all the causes must be the same class. The rule of being the same class applies to only Samvaya Karana, the material cause. That's why it applies. Meaning that the threads must be many. All the clay particles must be many. The gold particles must be many. That's why the rule applies, not to all other causes. So Samvaya Karana Visheva Samana Jatitva Abhyuvagamaha. Abhyuvagamaha, this position on our part, Samana Jatitva Abhyuvagamaha, that our accepting that the cause must be of the same class is Samvaya Karana Visheva. That only applies to Samvaya Karanam, the material cause. Na Karanantara Vishaya. It does not include the other causes such as Asamvaya Karanam, Nimitta Karanam. That rule only is restricted to Samvaya Karanam. All right. Then we ask you further. Says Ratnava, Kim Samvayita Avachedaka Dharmena Sajatyam Uta Sattvadina. So, what is Sajatyam? What do you mean by belonging to the same class? Depends upon how you analyze things, Depends upon how you classify things. So if you classify things that this is Samvaya Karanam, then Samvayita Avachedaka Dharmena. So by the dharma that this is a Samvayi, this is an inherent cause or this is a material cause. So being the material, is that the restricting factor? Is it where the Samana Jatiyatvam applied, that being material, that material must be of the same class, or Sattvadina, that it exists? You can say that whatever exists is the same class. Depending on how you classify things, You can classify all people here as human beings, then they come all the same class. Classify them as men and women, then they come to different class. And you further classify with glasses and without glasses, there will be further classes. And with glasses with short sight and long sight, there is a classification, And so it depends on how you classify. So what is your classification? So that the material cause must be of the same class, is that, or that they exist is the same class? Na adya hai. Even that the materials also are the same class also is not true. Tadapi, Bhashyakara says, Tadapi anaikantikam. Even that the material must be the same class is not universally true. Anaikantikam is not universally true. Bhashyakara gives example. Sutra govalaihi aneka jatiyaihi ekarajjuhu srujyamana drishyate. You can make a rope from different kinds of threads. Sutra valaihi, go valaihi. You can take the cotton thread and you can take the cow hair, go valaihi. So sutra valaihi. You can take the cotton thread, you can take the thread of the nature of the cow's hair. So for example, cow and the sheep and all this, they use that hair to make things. So you can make possibly a rope, not simply from the cotton threads, but you can combine cotton threads and the cow hair to make a rope. It's possible. Sujyamana drishyate. In fact, we find that people make ropes like that. It's not about making the rope, you must have the yarn of the same class. Yarns of different classes also can you combine to make a rope? Tatha sutraihi urnadibhischa vichitran kambalan vitanvate. Or they make blankets. From what? Sutraihi urnadibhischa. You can have a blanket which is a combination of cotton as well as wool. So cotton threads can be there and woolen threads also can be there, and you find. So vichitran kambalan, they make checkered blankets are being made. That you also find. So there is no rule that this samvaya karanam, the thread must be of the same class. Say ratnam nacha rajvadi na dravyantaram iti vachyam patadehapi tasatva apatat. So you create a rajju. Rajju is created. He says rajju is not a dravya. It is nothing but thread. What is rajju? Rajju or the thread, or the rope, is nothing but the assembly of threads. Therefore, rajju does not fall in a different class from threads. He says, no, it does. Nacha rajvadi na dravyantaram. Thread is one dravya, rajju is another dravya. The yarn is one substance and the rope is another substance. You have to accept it. Otherwise, there is no substance. Then patadehapi, then cloth also. Then cloth also won't be a substance because the yarn is a substance, and then what is cloth? Nothing but the combination of yarn. But when you combine the yarns, a different substance is created. When you combine the threads, rajju, a different substance is created. When you combine the yarns, then cloth, a different substance is created. And therefore, we find that for creating things like the rope, like the cloth, like the blankets, which are entities, for that it is possible to use the samvaya karanam, the materials of different class, and combine them. And therefore the rule that the samvaya karanam must be of a members of same class. There is an exception here, therefore there is no universal rule, that's all. If there is no universal, then avidya and atma, even though they are not of the same class, can combine to create this universe. Why not? We will continue tomorrow. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat मुच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। हरि ओम्। श्री गुरु